Hello everybody, my name is Nicola and welcome back to my channel. This is the Frugal Cottage, where we talk all things money to help you on your financial journey. Today's video is all about my early retirement portfolio. This is the main one that I use to fund our early retirement goals. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get started. So I've never actually shared the total value of this before anywhere. This is going to go through it to the penny of the value of all of my holdings in this, including all the individual companies, the stocks and the funds. This is correct as of recording on October the 20th. So let's get started. So I have it set up so that I have my share, like the company name, the holding, if it pays a dividend, and then the current value. And then I've got another section that has funds in there. So the first thing in my portfolio is Aviva. I've talked about having these before. Obviously, everything that I talk about during this video is not a personal recommendation. That is just something that I've invested in. You need to do your own research before you start. This is just giving you an insight into our journey and what I feel is best at this point in time. But like I said, you need to do your own research. The first company that I have in the portfolio is Aviva. I have 500 of these in it. It does pay a dividend, and it has just paid out one. And the current value of these as of today in this portfolio is £1,408.50. So that's the first one in there. I've never shared like current value things before. It feels a bit strange, but I want to be as transparent as possible to show that what we're doing, anyone else can do that as well. So the second one in the portfolio here is Brown Group. These have gone down quite a bit since I invested in these, but again, because this is a long-term strategy at the moment, I am just holding on to those. I have 1,000 of those in my investment ISA. These do normally pay a dividend, and the current value for those is £520. They were worth quite a lot more until like March or so, and then they dropped quite a bit, but you know, hopefully that will go back up, and that's going to be the same for quite a few of these. So the next one is a company we've all heard of. It is BT Group. I've had these in my portfolio right from the word go. I have 500 of those in there. This is always going to say yes, they pay a dividend, because until this year all of these bar one pay a dividend. I'm a dividend growth investor, so it's going to say yes. For most of these, they've paid out once and then kind of deferred their second payment policy. Again, these have gone down a lot recently, so I'm hoping that over time that will go back up, because I think BT is quite a strong company. I don't see that kind of disappearing, so we'll see. But they are currently worth £501. The next thing in my portfolio in this one is the Card Factory. So if you live in the UK, you will probably have heard of this before. Before lockdown happened, their kind of balance sheet and everything was really good. Their dividend payment was really strong, and I have 1,000 of these in here, and they do pay dividends normally. They've not paid their final one, but hopefully that will be out soon. And again, this is a company that has dropped in value recently. So when I say recently, so like since like March, but you know, whenever anything gets back to normal, it should kind of go back up, hopefully. They're worth £345 at the moment. The next one I have in here is GlaxoSmithKline. That's a pharmaceutical company. These pay out every quarter, so this is a good in terms of a dividend income paying stock. This company pays out 4 times a year, which is helpful. I have 230 of those in my portfolio. I've added to this recently. They're currently at quite a low price compared to what they have been. Like I said, these pay out 4 times a year, and at the moment the current value of the ones in my portfolio is £3,190.56. I have added to that recently, so that's why that goes up quite a bit. So the next one to talk about in here is Halfords. So Halfords in the UK is a shop that deals with mainly like cars, MOTs and bikes. And again, before all this happened, it was a really kind of strong. I only have 100 of these. I bought these quite a few years ago now. Again, just to add some dividend income. They haven't paid out the second one this year, but we'll see. At the moment, they're worth £229.50. The next one, I bought these again, ITV. It's a TV station here. I bought these quite a while ago now, and they've not done very well in terms of their price, but until recently they were a good dividend payer. So again, it's just kind of waiting and seeing for most of these. The next one is Kia. Now this was a bit of a gamble. This is not a dividend income stock. This is the only one in my portfolio that is not. I bought 150 of these because they were a really low price, and this is the only one where I've taken a bit of a gamble, I suppose, on the sense that in the long term that should go up. And let's say they're only worth £70.98. That's the only one that you'll see it says no here for dividend income. The next one here is Lloyds Bank. I again bought these fairly recently. They're really low in price. They've posted some news about reinstating their dividends, so we'll see how that goes. I have 1,000 of these in my portfolio. They do normally pay a dividend, and at the moment the value of those at the moment is £271.90. So moving on, the next one in here is Marks and Spencer. And I've talked about this before, about how the price I paid for these back in, I think it was 2017, I bought Marks and Spencer, was so much higher than it is now. I have 250 shares of Marks and Spencer in my portfolio. They've cut their dividend as well as has everything else, but the price I paid was much more than this in total, and if I sold them now I'd be at a loss. So at the moment I'm quite happy just to sit on those and see what happens. They've just signed a deal with Ocado, haven't they, to do kind of like home deliveries for their food sector, so hopefully that will have a positive impact in the long run. The next one is Morrisons. Now I shop at Morrisons every week. It's one of the best supermarkets I think around here. I have 800 shares in Morrisons at the moment. They do pay a dividend. It's due this month actually, and at the moment the current value of those is £1,395.60. The next one is Pets at Home. So again, if you live in the UK you'll have heard of these. Pets at Home is a shop that obviously specialises in pet supplies, but they also have like a vets sector as well within their stores. These I have 300 of in here, and they do pay a dividend, and they've continued to pay that dividend. This is currently worth £1,189.20. I bought these again, I think in 2017, and just left these. I paid nowhere near this. These have gone up, especially in like the last 6 months or so, like quite substantially. I'm really happy with how these looked. In fact, I wish I'd bought slightly more at the time, but I didn't. And so that's what they're currently worth, but I paid less than half of that I paid for those. So that's been good in terms of growth of the value of the shares. The next individual company is Sage Group. I have 150 of those. Dividend payer, yes, normally. And they are worth at the moment £1,062.30. Just two more in the individual companies bit. So the Standard Life, another insurance group, I have 500 of those in my portfolio. They do pay dividends, and at the moment that is worth £1,239.50. And the final one for individual companies is Vodafone. I bought these again like back at the start of my investing journey, and the price I paid for them is more than what they're currently worth. So they do pay dividends. They're actually quite a good dividend payer. They're currently worth at the moment £553.50. I did pay more than that for those, but the dividends have kind of equaled it out so far. And again, you can't really see that disappearing. So the total in terms of individual companies as it stands today, the 20th of October, is £12,569.79. So that's like the first bit of my portfolio. You'll see in a second, actually, that's the smaller section of this. So all these individual companies are much higher risk in terms of they're much more likely to go bust as a single company as opposed to a fund, which you'll see in a second. But they are all of my individual companies I have in our early retirement portfolio. And the second one are the funds. There's not as many of these, but these are more in like higher in value. So the first one I've got is Legal and General US Index. There are 504.146. They do kind of like decimal points in the funds in this. It does pay a dividend. This one I think pays out twice a year, and the current value of these is £2,773.31. The next one in here is the Vanguard Ftse 100 index. That is, so it's much more expensive to hold these ones. So I have 43.30 shares in there. These all pay dividends as well, because again, I'm a dividend investor. The current value of those today is £3,755.43. The next one in my portfolio is the Vanguard Ftse UK All Share Index. All of the funds I hold, by the way, are the income version of these funds because I'm building that dividend income stream. This is all of the companies in the UK index. At the moment, I have 59.23 in my portfolio. They pay a dividend like they all do. This one is currently worth £5,524.85. That dividend pays out at the end of the year, and I'm looking forward to how much that goes. That has been my biggest individual kind of payout in previous years, and this year, you know, touch wood, should be no different. The next one I've got is Vanguard Global Emerging Markets, so things that are in kind of like over in the East. I have 20.04 in these. The Vanguard funds tend to be much more expensive to buy in the first place, and the current value of that is £3,536.61. The next one I've got here, which is a popular one, the Vanguard Life Strategy. I went for the 60% one. They are all slightly different. I have 28.04 worth in my holding. They do pay dividends. They pay out in May. That's the big one in May. And that currently values at £4,970.52. And then the final one in my holding is the Vanguard US Equity Index. So you can see I've got 2 US indexes in here. The reason for that is that they pay out at different times of the year. I only have 4 of these. This is a ridiculously expensive fund to buy an individual one of, so that's why there's only fairly few in there. Yes, of course, it pays a dividend, and the current value of that is £2,095.38. So you can see just how much one would be. It's fairly expensive to buy. So the total in terms of funds in my portfolio at the moment is £22,656.10. So overall in my portfolio, there's just over £35,000 in there in our early retirement fund, if you like. And projections at the start of the year, if all had gone to plan, which obviously it hasn't, this I think would have ended up paying me about £1,800 in dividend income. It hasn't so far because, you know, things have changed, but hopefully in the next year or so that will begin to pick back up and we will be back on track. So that, it feels a bit strange to share all these numbers. I've never shared the actual like pounds and pence before in there, but this is the current value. Obviously this goes up and down every single day. I don't tend to check every single day because that's not how you should do investing. It should be fairly boring. I also, because people ask, I invest once a month into this portfolio, so when I get paid I transfer over £700 on the day I get paid, and I make one transaction, whether it's in an individual company like these or in one of the funds, and I tend to just top up the ones I have already. The only thing I'm kind of keeping an eye on, I would like an ethical based fund within this as well. But that is my, or our should I say, because it's me and my husband, our early retirement portfolio. So thanks for watching. As always, let me know if you've got any comments. What do you think about my portfolio? Do you think that I'm being incredibly risky, or do you think we're playing it a bit safe? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you again very soon.